So, ammo can't handle the triple cycle. Yeah, I know, the tunnel server just looks at what I want to start and it just goes, "You what, mate? You fucking what?" Okay, right. In the top right, playing as the green cycle, we have Fuluren. His teammate playing the same faction, but in cyan, we have pushme, together forming Team SREF. Their opponents playing the red cycle, we have Manticore, and his teammate playing as the magenta Wings of Coronia, we have MagicCat, forming Team Sakura. Team Sakura are currently leading 2-0. If SREF wish to stay in this game, they will have to take it and win all 3 rounds if they want to advance to the finals. I don't expect to see that to happen given the state of Manticore and MagicCat's play. They've been very good, they've been on form. And SREF simply haven't been able to match their performance. We may see a turnaround. People will remember yesterday we saw Team Ispepsilon OK get knocked out 3-2 despite the fact that they won the first 2 games. And their showing was very strong, so who knows, we might see a repeat in the semi-final. Phone going straight for the Tech Veteran Academy there in an effort to get the veteran night frames, which are scary buggers. Remember, veterancy in Mental Omega grants you 40% more hit points for just the first stage. And I can't remember what the elite bonuses are, but it's generally even more HP, self-heal, more range, I think. Did I mention more damage? Should be more damage. But someone in chat can dig out the proper bonuses that elite gives you. As it looks like, I didn't notice this at the time, but MagicCat's gone double barracks in order to get the base crawl away. I'm not the only one who missed that, am I? I could have sworn that was regular Windtrap refinery. No, am I just blind? Okay, I'm just blind. Again, fairly standard base crawl out here. Well, I say base crawl, it's not, can't really call it a base crawl anymore, not that war factory placement from Manticore here. As he goes, queues up a second refinery. As we see a red spook eating a cyan spook, and it looks like Manticore will have firm vision over pushme's base. Unsure about the state of scouting on Fuluren. I'm not sure how much MagicCat and Manticore can see after that. I imagine they probably scouted it. If not already, then they will be able to scout it. As pushme goes for his base crawl, having diverted over here. Beacon detected from someone. I'm not sure whose beacon it is. Oh dear. Game performance starting to suffer ever so slightly. Spook has been destroyed from Manticore. As we see the first archer out on the field. That's probably going to try and kill this tree. Or that tree. No, it's this tree. Crimes against nature are now fully in progress as we see 2 refineries out here from Manticore. MagicCat going double refinery here. Now, one thing to note is that Phone can't base crawl down here. The barracks is too large, so is the wind trap, and the Cloud Piercer can't actually get down there because it doesn't have the build radius extension. So MagicCat will have to move their MCV over if they want to get the gems down from the cliff, which is a right pain in the ass. I think though that they can base crawl down here, but I'm not entirely sure.
Beacon detected.
Beacon detected out there from pushme. You see, no, it doesn't delete it instantly. As it starts shooting up a refinery. Pushme having gone double war factory. What are we seeing in there? Just more ghost miners. But we're seeing Pandora Hub, so I think what we are going to see eventually is after Pandora Hub, we'll see a bioreactor, that be loaded with spooks, and then we'll see a third war factory. I think pushme is just going to go all out on the Marauder spam, as, yep, there's the first Pandora Hub. As we see a couple of stingers, and I believe this will be the prequel to the Marauders. And remember, their opponent is also Circle, they've got ghost miners, they're invisible. And, well, minor mites have a habit of not dying when being harassed. We're seeing more ghost miners out here from Fuluren. Fuluren also working on their own Pandora hub. I don't know where they're going to put it. I'll probably put it somewhere around here, I should think. I wanted to try and keep... Oh, no, it's there. Fair enough. Decent spot. As it looks like MagicCat's going to come and try and commit to this base crawl. If MagicCat finds the base crawl spot, I'm going to be impressed, but I don't think it's possible. Yep, no, I think MagicCat's noticed that it's not possible and has now unpacked their MCV. They're on Piercer, double barracks, double war factory, and they are the richest player on the board here. As a Nightframe walks out, tries to get scouting. As it looks like MagicCat has now turned on the money spending taps, and we're going to start seeing Nightframe production out en masse. You see the first Marauder out here from Manticore. Likewise, pushme ahead, however, having got on their Pandora hub first, and is now on triple war factory. Manticore working on his third war factory, however, as we speak, in an effort to try and match pushme's production. Yep, there's the bioreactor as we see more spooks get loaded into it, eventually. I only count 4 spooks though, that's going to be short, an extra power unit, but he can easily cannibalize one from up here. As, yep, Fuluren goes full out Marauder production here, as we see Draco tanks are the response from MagicCat here. I don't think this is the correct response. I think what MagicCat should do right now is switch out to Roadrunner production and pray that they can get Spinblade going operational. Whilst Dracos are fast, they need Spinblade, and they're not tanky enough to withstand Marauders. I think MagicCat may be gambling too much on Draco drones here, which aren't even a guaranteed spawn. MagicCat very rapidly burning the bank. pushme now takes the position of richest player, and they'll be able to get their base crawl conducted very soon, working on another bioreactor. That'll be going down here. I expect to see a refinery follow up. There it is. As the Marauders start chipping away at the initiate blob of Manticore here. Again, likewise, Fuluren's Marauders start chipping away at the Dracos of MagicCat. They almost kill one. That's going to go back to the Minor-Mite field for repairs. Another one takes a heavy hit. The Nightframe's trying to clean up the Bone Infantry. Sorry, no, the Nightframe's trying to clean up the Epsilon Infantry. As Marauders again engage, take out a Nightframe, as it's just a juking competition between MagicCat and Fuluren. But likewise, down at the bottom here, it's not even a juking competition, or jousting I should say. It's a full-on brawl between Manticore and pushme here. As it looks like pushme is attempting to seize the initiative here, burning through most of the initiate force and a couple of engineers in Manticore's army. Manticore only has 3 Marauders left to defend. We're going to need to start to see Inferno Towers, not a Gatling cannon, but I think Inferno's are locked behind radar. I can't remember the Epsilon tech structure. As the jousting match continues up at the top, with Fuluren getting the better of MagicCat. MagicCat sending the Draco tanks down to Manticore in an effort to try and resist, but no, decides to recall them. As the Nightframe starts shooting away at the Marauders. There's some friendly fire here. I think the Draco tank was in fact destroyed by Nightframe friendly fire. As these Marauders do not relent from pushme here. Engaging into the Gatling cannon, engaging into what's left of Manticore's Marauders, but I think pushme has the advantage in numbers here. But he's not exactly utilising it well. Manticore is able to hold, as the archers that were moving up are chased away by the initiates. As Manticore continues to hold out until he gets more production. pushme is working on radar. Looks like pushme is going to go for the tech up now that he's on triple factory. As the foam forces here are about to be outmaneuvered by the absurdly large Marauder blobs. Still no Roadrunners from MagicCat. MagicCat insists on making Draco tanks to counter the Marauder forces here. There's the Spinblade up at the top trying to mine out the gem pit. But the Marauders are now going to respond. We've got a single railgun tower out here from MagicCat in an effort to try and defend the Minor-Mite blob. And it does indeed look like that the Marauders are not going to bite the bait of the Minor-Mites. And now simply retreat. It looks like, I believe, yeah, Fuluren. Okay, no, Fuluren's going to expand their production. They're going to go quintuple War Factory now, as they base crawl towards MagicCat's Orfield and Gems over here to apply even more pressure. But Fuluren has to be very careful he doesn't imitate Icarus here and fly too close to the sun. As that Phone Force now gets a Spin Blade operational, the Dracos are sped up, but I think the Marauders are faster, if not just as fast. As the Dracos move in, the Marauders continue to kite. It looks like a lot of the infantry down to resist were crushed, as it's largely down to the Marauders and Night Frames. We've got Gatling cannons in full response, however. There aren't enough Draco tanks in order to take them out. Now, there may only be 2, but Night Frames do barely any damage, and those Dracos are not in a good way. I think Fuluren, despite MagicCat's best efforts, Fuluren will probably hold this if they micro their Marauders well. We lose a refinery, however, on the front line. Now, Fuluren has 6k though. I think they can afford to lose that as they work on another bioreactor. Meanwhile, however, as I'm sure most of you will be pointing out in chat, there was an engagement down at the bottom, and it looks like Manticore has in fact been wiped out from the field. Fuluren and MagicCat continue their jousting competition as things continue to get more dire for Manticore here. Manticore now running out of money completely. And the most MagicCat can dispatch are 2 Draco drones. It's minimal AA, but it's enough. It takes one of them out. As it looks like the Marauder anti-building damage is not the greatest. It looks like pushme does not believe he can exploit the breakthrough he's created here. Whilst Fuluren continues to try and take on MagicCat head on and appears to be seeing quite a bit of success. But they're not utilising them very well. pushme decides that discretion is the better part of valor. Has gone tier 3. As we see 3 sets of engineers, we're going to see more repair sneakers out on the field. As the Draco drones from MagicCat here simply continue to get cleaned up. Insistent on making Draco drones, MagicCat refuses to alter their build order here, as they don't even have tier 3 yet. They're working on Colonel. They're working on Colonel. So we may see Coronia go to tier 3, and how Cycle will respond once Coronia hits that power spike, we have yet to see. Ore refinery out here from Manticore as he tries to long distance mine the ore field over here. I don't think we'll see a lot of success. We've got a random spin blade up here, though any spin blade at this stage is a good spin blade, as just being able to pick up that speed boost for the Draco drone is absolutely necessary for MagicCat to have a hope of chasing down and killing these Marauders here. pushme comes back, this time with more Marauders, easily outnumbers Manticore here, but Manticore trying to use a screening force of spooks to draw fire. We've got a risen monolith called in from pushme here, as yet again pushme decides to pull back, wait for his archers to show up, wait for Libra to get into the action, and simply kite away. We've got Draco drone harassment in the base of Fuluren here, as a team of 3 Draco drones start sniping away at the power grid. No response yet from Fuluren. Oh wait, no, I think he's moving his infantry forces to engage. As Libra starts to get stuck into the action. Sniping down the refinery that Manticore hasn't even finished paying for yet. Manticore decides to go complete tier 2, sells off the refinery for what value he can get. As Libra now decides to target the power grid. An interesting call, the 2 power plants that actually provide most of the power at the back. I don't think the loss of these 2 power plants is completely acceptable. So the Draco drones from MagicCat here absolutely not doing anything as they just sit idly by, but there's the nano sink from MagicCat. But we also see Fuluren diving into the base in an effort to try and clean up some extra infrastructure here. Railgun is now in the field. Bulky, tanky buggers that hit hard, but they're slow as fuck at speed 4. In fact, no, I don't even think they're speed 4, I think they're speed 3. But pushme dives in, clears out most of the Marauders here, going for infrastructure damage. Defensive risen monolith from Manticore here, but he's not going to win that engagement. Loses all of his Marauders. And here come the archers. There's Libra on the field as well. As it looks like... Oh, hold up. MagicCat going to try and hijack a bunch of Marauders, but fails to get any of the actual orders away. There could have been a comeback, there could have been a save, but it looks like he mismanaged from MagicCat. Fucks that up badly. As the Dracos move into engage, we've got the buzzers as well. They're looking to clean up all of that. There's minimal AA. It's literally just Libra and her clone. Looks like the buzzers are going to kill Libra. And indeed, Libra does fall. But Fuluren, not sitting about, decides to take advantage of that and goes for phone wind traps. A good call here. Sabotage the phone power grid. You can cripple any base defenses, you can cripple their production, and they take a while to rebuild. Phone only spawning the space on what was 4 wind traps. They're about to lose half of that power output, as Phone are now very much on low power. Wind trap stays alive for the time being as they try to reposition, if not for the lag. Wind trap does indeed go down as they're now being herded by the Phone forces that are responding. We've got a counter-attack happening at the top here. So it looks like there's minimal resistance here. The Ghost Miners can't crush Phone infantry. Quite simply, it looks like that MagicCat can go to town, but they're being relatively indecisive about it. Fuluren tries to take advantage of the situation here. Phone is low power, there's minimal resistance now. Pushme should realise that as well. The only resistance out here is one Marauder. That Railgun tower is on low power. But no, they instead decide to respond to the Phone force up at the top here, which has been absolutely devastating Fuluren here. Attempts to try and control the situation with mind control. We've got the Marauders on station. Magnetic beam out from Manticore here. I'm surprised you can afford that. But the Phone infantry don't start walking, they all stay completely still. There's going to be no pseudo EMP. But the Railgunners are all targeting mind control units, they're not targeting the Marauders where they can do heavy damage. Libra out here from Pushme. We also see Bloatics emerge, but the tier 3, I think, from Fuluren has been destroyed. However, whether or not this Phone counterattack, this attack will be cleaned up. But the question is for how big a loss and for how much time can they buy. Again, MagicCat, they're trying to apply pressure on the other side to push me here, but it's mostly in the form of buzzards, and there are Gehenna platforms. You see a couple of Marauders here. Push me now brings his own Marauders to respond, as Fuluren likewise starts bringing his forces down there. A sizable Bloatic blob has been brought on the field. However, what it's going to accomplish, I'm not sure. There's no large infantry force that they can target, so it's spread out. Draco Drone and Buzzard tries to shoot up the power infrastructure of Fuluren. Oh, no, not Fuluren, sorry, Pushme. But that Draco Drone will die. Does take the bioreactor with it, however, but there's an empty one right here that Pushme can push over the spooks in. Railgun is still going strong, but they're going to be cleaned up by this Initiate Task Force. Although the Railgunners are trading somewhat well, but they have been cleaned up. MagicCat has no longer got a large nanosync infantry task force that have been the main threat, but Eureka is now on the field to try and supplement that. As we transition to the late game of Scorpion Trail, where one player has now started to run out of money and they've now expended most of their forces. Fuluren and Pushme are... They've mined out more cash than your average Blood Diamond mine. But, alas, here we are. As MagicCat only on 2k, Manticore bankrupt, Pushme 38k, Fuluren 24, as they're going to try and deny MagicCat the expansion. Enraged Marauders, these Dracos stand no chance. Manticore desperately moves over in an attempt to respond and remedy the situation, but what you really need here are base defenses. The Marauders YOLO in. Offensive Risen Monolith is now on the field as the Bloatics trade come in. I'm not sure again what they're going to try and accomplish, however. Gehennas are included in this task force, but there's minimal air units. Okay, the Dracos have been mostly cleaned up by the Bloatics. I'm not sure if that's a particularly cost efficient trade, but it does get rid of them. as MagicCat has now completely run out of money and is spending all of their infantry down here in an effort to try and keep Manticore from capitulating. Well, it looks like MagicCat's about to lose their Conyard. Libra opens up. They're not going to be able to mine the gem pit out here at all. MCV unpacks. I don't think Manticore has a Shadow Ring ready, because that requires Synth Vault. Well, Manticore doesn't have Synth Vault. MCV looks like it'll try and get away though, and it's going to succeed in that, but MagicCat has only a few minor mines to start all field out on the left for income. As Pushme and Fuluren completely dominate the map and have overall control. They get to decide the engagements, they get to decide where to strike. Sakura have been left completely on the defensive. It looks like Pushme strikes at MagicCat here. Gonna have to be wary that these Dracos don't get any crushes away, because that's all crushable except for Libra. But I don't think it's going to be a good day for MagicCat here, so that War Factory is going to go down to Libra. This War Factory will be killed by the archers. Game starts to suffer a bit as it tries to process what is happening here with the triple cycle. The Dracos simply decide to retreat as a War Factory has been destroyed. A second War Factory gets sold off as MagicCat now finds themselves on only one War Factory. They have now retreated into Manticore's base. It continues to get grimmer and grimmer as it looks like the team SREF are going to pull this back to a 2-1. However, it's not over yet. We still have some fight in them. MagicCat desperately selling off infrastructure in an effort to get any cash for the nanosync here, which may be their last saving grace. But whether or not it'll be enough is another story entirely. There is a bloating force here. There's a King's Frame task force here. You don't have to imagine it because I think it's exactly what's going to happen. No Shadow Ring though from Fuluren. Somebody's disconnected from the client. As the Marauders continue to try and kite away. We've got a mag satellite down here. Can't tell who from, but it's going to get most of the phone infantry. MagicCat will have to stay there and stay completely still if they want to have any hope of having their units returning fire. So if King's Frames move in that mag field, they get stuck in a pseudo EMP. Draco simply go in to crush the Bloatics here and clean up most of that task force. It's a good call there, but I'm not sure if it's exactly worthwhile. It's going to keep the phone infantry blob in the game for just a little much longer. But at this stage, I think they're just delaying the inevitable. As the archers here continue to mop up infrastructure from MagicCat, they lose the nanofiber loop. They've lost their MCV somewhere in their chaos. They've lost their tier 3. They've lost their only War Factory. They've drawn the nanofiber loom blob away as now Fuluren decides to exploit the gap left. The Railgunners try to double back. Defensive stun grids out here, so MagicCat still has an MCV. Okay, now MagicCat's MCV is over here, but it's now at the mercy of Pushme's Marauders. As this infantry blob out here continues to be out-positioned, out-maneuvered. Bloatics literally everywhere from Fuluren. We've got a Rage Inductor, presumably on the Marauders. Yep, there they are. As they're going to clean up MagicCat's only remaining... yeah, MagicCat just sells it. MagicCat has now lost their only MCV. They have triple racks and Cyber Kernel. The phone player has been knocked out of the game. Only their infantry task force remaining. And I don't think that's going to remain for much longer. King's Frames open up, the Bloatics menacingly march forward. It may actually survive, I don't think... I'd say that's acceptable casualties for MagicCat here, but again, just it delays the inevitable. More infrastructure loss from behind the base. The Libra Archer task force here, as MagicCat simply doesn't know what to respond to. MagicCat simply being played like a fiddle here, led round the merry-go-round, as simply it looks like the infrastructure of MagicCat slowly collapses. And the same can be said for Manticore here. Neutralizer trying to do as much damage as it can, but it is focused down and destroyed by Pushme's Marauders. As we enter the twilight hours of this game, it It is simply a matter of time. So their time is running out for Sakura. Infantry Blob, having lost most of his railgunners, can now simply be whittled down by Marauders and Libra. He won't offer much resistance now. Shadow Ringed Blow takes an effort to clean up the blob, but MagicCat observes before that can happen, and Manticore follows suit. As SREF claim it and take it to 2-1.